Your premise one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thumbs up. Everybody can hear me okay? Good, good. Um, Gabe, Gavin, I think there's a couple people that we can't necessarily see. Let's see. There's Gabe. Gabe, what's up, man? Gavin and Anaya. Would love to see your beautiful face this morning.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, dude? All right, guys, I'm going to cover 5 things that create systems and create successful reps. So these 5 things you can focus in on to create consistency and create the success that you want in your business. In any business that you're a part of, right? I think the goal is for you to create success in some way, shape, or form. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes to create success? Right? That's what it really always comes down to. It's not, can you be successful in our business? We've been selling Cutco for over 75 years, right? There's people that are selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Cutco every single year. There's managers producing millions of dollars in sales every single year, right? We've been doing over $250 million every single year in sales for well over a decade, right? It's not a question of can people be successful in Cutco. It's a question of can you be successful in Cutco? But how do we answer that question? We answer that question with the systems that create success for people and putting yourself in a place for you to experience that success. So I'm going to walk you through 5 things that are directly in your control that you can implement literally today. And if you only implement them today, it might not work. If you only implement them today and tomorrow, it might work, it might not. I'm talking about creating a system of success in your life that creates results. I'm talking about when somebody goes to the gym one day, they it's gonna work a little bit, but you know how it's gonna work? It's make you fucking sore, man, because you never work out, right? And then you're like, yeah, damn, I don't know if I can go back to the gym. I'm sore, man. So you don't go back for like another 3 weeks, right? And it feels good, but they don't create any sort of consistency with it. So how's that going to move the result that you want to create, right? I'm talking about creating consistency. I'm talking about creating systems that create results. Number one, the first thing we need, 5 things. The first one that we need is we need a standard. The first thing that we need is we need a standard. Okay. What is a standard? When you think about what a standard is, okay? What is a standard for success? Who can answer that question for me? When I say a standard, what do you think I mean? I'll tell you what I mean, but what do you think I mean? What is
I
go ahead.
think I, I think we're looking at an expectation that happens day in and day out.
Yes. Yes. And Gabe, that day in and day out, I'm going to speak in terms of a 7-day period for a minute because we work in forms of a week, right? And sometimes the day, for example, there's different things that occur in a day, but I want to zone in for a week. Now, a standard, right, is something that you are not willing to accept any less of for yourself. I'm going to say that again. A standard is something that you are not willing to accept any less of for yourself. It's not a goal. It's not a mission. You're playing a fucking video game and you're trying to get to level 2, okay? I'm talking about a standard that you will not allow anything less than that for yourself, okay? So what does that look like? It's really simple. I'm going to tell you the standards in our division. Whether or not you choose to uphold those for yourself will be up to you. Okay. These are the standards that we talk about in the summer on our team. Okay. A part-time rep, if you're a part-time rep and you want to work about 20 hours a week, okay, that means you're doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 demos, probably in the 10 to 12 range, okay, a week in a 7-day period. If you're a full-time rep on our team, then you're doing 20 plus appointments in a week. Okay. Really simple. 10 if you're part-time, full-time is 20. If you break down the math on that, why I say part-time and full-time, it takes about an hour and a half or so appointment in between. Okay. And then, it takes some time to schedule those appointments, right? You're probably scheduling somewhere between 2 and 5 demos per hour. So if we say 5 hours of phone time for a part-time rep, that's a good number. Like that should give you more than you need. So 5 plus those 15, that puts you at 20 hours, right? Right. And then, you've got your full-time rep, just double it, right? Now, the phone time coincides with the meeting, so that makes it pretty simple, right? You've got a meeting to kind of kick off and get your skills built and all that, right? Now, if you choose to take advantage of some of the other stuff, the Champions Club, that type of thing, could it add a little bit more time? Hell yeah. And then your results go way up, right? Your average order, your closing percentage, all those things. So let's go back to standard for a second. You have this standard, okay? I would write down in your notes, do two, set two, do three, set three, or do four, set four. It's an A, B, or C multiple choice. Do two, set two, do three, set three, do four, set four. It's an A, B, or C multiple choice. It's really simple. Okay. You put yourself into one of those categories. Okay. Continue with me for a second there, Gabe. I know we were just chatting. So which of those standards do you want to be in, a 10 or a 20 standard?
Well, I just started this week, so I'm starting at that 10 to 12.
Great time to
Um,
start thinking about this. It's better to start thinking about it
yeah,
now when you're new,
absolutely.
as
Absolutely.
opposed to like 2 or 3 weeks in. Like some people,
Absolutely.
Gabe, they don't create a standard for themselves until after their fast start. And if
Yeah,
you can start doing that now, man, in your first 1 to 2 weeks, that's a great place to be in.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so you're
Yeah.
thinking part-time, like 10 to 12 a week, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm
That's
going to
what
ask the
that
questions here. I'm going to ask the questions here. So in the next part, so when we go 10 to 12, so then the next question here is, do we want to be a do two, set two, do three, set three, or do four, set four? Now let me set the parameters for how you think about that because you're new to this, okay? If I'm doing 2 demos a day, I'm working approximately 4 hours. Okay. I'm doing like a 10 o'clock and a 12 o'clock demo. I'm working like, I'm getting dressed at like 9. I'm going to my demo, and by 1 o'clock, I'm done for the day. Okay. It's like a half day gig. It's like a part-time librarian that goes in and checks in, sits there for 3 or 4 hours, studies a little bit, and walks out of the library and gets her lunch and goes on her day. Okay. You've got from 1 o'clock until midnight to do whatever the hell you want for the day. That's a do two, set two type of person. And they didn't even start their day until 10 o'clock. They didn't even start their day until 10 o'clock. You got people that are stocking shelves at Publix and Walmart and shit, and they're like up at 2:30 a.m. trying to stock the shelves before the door opens. Okay. I'm talking like a 10 to 1 o'clock type of timeline. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. If you're a do three, set four, you might start a little bit earlier. You might do like a 9, 11, and a 1, and you work like 9 to 3. Okay. Or you work later on in the day and you do like a 4, 6, and an 8. You've got something like another job that you do all day, and then you want to do some demos later on in the day and make some extra income. Okay. And then the do four, set four is a little bit more, right? It's like you're working it more like a job, right? That's like your thing to make money. Okay. You make calls in the morning, you've got Champions Club in the morning, you do a 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You're done at 5 o'clock, 5:30. Okay. You go to the gym when all the people that work a 9 to 5 go to the gym because you want to like be with all the people and shit. And then you get your dinner and you can do whatever you want the rest of the day. You work like a normal type of schedule of a job, right? Like a 9 to 5 type of schedule. Okay. So Gabe, as I say that, what's beautiful about this, if Gabe wants to be a 10 to 12 rep, okay, Gabe's going to need to schedule 12 or 13 demos to complete 10. Okay. So Gabe, we're going to pick something that allows us to schedule 12 or 13. So if we're due to set two, we're going to do this 5 or 6 days a week. But remember, you're only working a couple hours. Okay. You got a lot of time in the day. Some people like that. You might want to be the do three set four and do it, or do three set three and do it 4 days a week. You have 3 day weekend every weekend. You get to pick whatever days those are, but that's it. That's an option. Or you could be the do four set four and do it 3 days a week and have 4 days to do whatever you want. Like if I was in that category, I would probably do that 3 days a week and I'd play golf 36 holes all 4 days. Like that's probably what I would do. Okay. So, Gabe, which of those, really simple, what standard do you want to operate within?
My standard would be to go ahead and um, set do three set four. That would be my standard to
Okay, so
that's
like the
really
3 a day category?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I want you to pick the 4 days that you're going to do that on a weekly basis. What days work best for you?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay, so Monday through Thursday.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, now Gabe has a standard. Gabe, who's your manager?
Carson.
Gabe's going to go to Carson and say, hey, Carson, Carson's listening to this, so it's great for him. Gabe now has a standard that he can say, hey, Carson, here's how I want to work the job. So Carson has full clarity, Gabe, in how to coach and manage you to make sure that you're operating within the lines and the standard that you want to work within. That's going to make your relationship with Carson so much better because he's not going to bother the shit out of you on Saturday when it's not a day that you said you wanted to work. Unless he's just saying, hey, dude, let's talk about the phone jam tomorrow to make sure that we hit that standard that you want for Monday through Thursday. So he's able to coach you around the standard that you're setting for yourself. Guys, the number one reason that people hate the job is because they don't have enough people to call, because they didn't do a good job getting recs. The number two reason that people don't do well with this job is this. They feel like they're always working. You know why they feel like they're always working? Because they don't have a fucking standard. Simple as that. So they feel like they're always trying to get demos because they don't have a standard of when they're going to do demos. Gabe, this right here will help everything that I say else make a lot more sense. So we got to start there. Does everybody have a standard now in their mind of which they want to be, just like Gabe does? Give me a thumbs up or we can't move forward. Good, good? Okay. If you're listening to this recording, obviously one of those standards that you've now created is going to be how many days a week that you're working and which of those categories are you in? Do two, set two, do three, set three, do four, set four. If you're a 20 appointment plus per week, you're a do four, set four at least 5 days a week. Okay? Really simple. If you want to win a scholarship, right, you're going to need to be either in the do three, set three and have a high average order or a do four, set four, and you can have mediocre numbers and win a scholarship. Okay? All right, number two, the second thing that we need, Gabe, is we need a plan. The second thing we need is we need a plan. Okay? So along with that standard of which category I'm going to be in, the second thing I need is a plan. Gabe now has a plan of which days he's going to work. Now, that doesn't matter if Gabe doesn't have a plan around his phoning to fill those appointments. So Gabe, the number of calls that it's going to take me to book that amount of appointments is going to be an important piece of the plan. Are you with me?
Yes.
So if I say, okay, it's going to take me X number of calls to book an appointment, it's going to be, Gabe, between 5 and 10, depending on who you're calling. If you're calling somebody you know fairly well, it's going to be closer to 5. If it's an acquaintance or somebody you know pretty well, or if it's a rec of your mom, if it's a recommendation of somebody that you haven't entertained much conversation with before, it's probably going to be closer to like 7 to 10. Okay. So if we kind of do this number based on 7 for being conservative and planning ahead, and he needs to book 12 demos, Gabe, 12 times 7 is our magic number. Okay. 12 times 7, that's going to give us 84. We're going to round that to 85. So he needs to make 85 calls per week to make sure he books his 12 appointments that he needs to book. Okay. Simple as that. So now I'm going to map out when I'm going to make those calls. Okay. Gabe, there's two easy opportunities per week that we can start with. That's your Wednesday phone jam and your Sunday phone jam. Now, in your case, because you're doing more appointments on the front end of the week, we're going to want to be a little heavier on the front end of the week with phone time. Does that make sense?
Yep, I'm with you.
Ideally, by the end of the Sunday phone jam, we're already booked for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that every Wednesday we can be working on the week ahead. Okay, that's where we want to be. So you're going to want to, every time you leave a Sunday phone jam, you're going to want to have, get this number in your notes, 12 appointments ahead. That's the key. You go into the week with 12 appointments per head, you're going to hit your goals. Okay? Really simple. And you're also, Gabe, not going to feel like you're fighting to get your demos booked. You're going to be ahead of the game. Okay? So, how do we make sure that occurs? We need to make 85 calls. So, how's that going to happen? Gabe, have you been to a team meeting yet on a Wednesday night?
Not yet. This coming week or this week will be my first.
Okay, cool. So, we're going to have full clarity going into that. So, our mission should be each Wednesday and Sunday to make 40 calls. Okay? 40 calls, it's a two, you make about 20 calls an hour, 20 to 25. You have a 2 hour phone jam, it's 40 calls, that gives you five. And then I would pick one other morning per week. Monday is what I would reference based on your schedule, where you do another 10 calls just to fill in for any gaps of reschedules or that type of thing. That gives you what you need. So your plan is you're going to do a Wednesday and a Sunday. You're going to do 40 calls each of those days. And then Monday, 10 calls. That's it. So Carson's job now is really simple. He just needs to hold you accountable to that. So if you go to Carson, Gabe, and you're like, oh, dude, I'm at 33 calls. I'm done for the day. Carson's gonna be like, no, you're not, man. Your mission is 40 calls. I want to remind you of what you said your standard was in our organization. It's really simple. You don't have to talk about it. He just needs to remind you about it. And you're like, yeah, dude, you're right. Like, yeah, I wanted to live in a house, but no, I don't want to live in this place. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Right? I don't want to live under the bridge. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Let me make those 7 calls. Okay? Really simple. You just gotta have a standard, right? That might be a little much, but if we don't have standards for something, we're not gonna have standards for anything, right? All these things create habits, right? Okay, are we good on a plan, Gabe, for you? Now, the other piece of the plan, Gabe, you need to know is what time slots you want those appointments to be in. Do you prefer to work front half of the day or back half of the day?
Back half of the day.
Back half of the day. Okay, so we're gonna start. You need to have four. We're gonna be in the do three, set three. So we could do like a 4, 6, and an 8, or a 2, 4, and
Perfect.
6,
Two,
something
four,
like
and
that.
six. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
cool. Really simple. Those are your slots that you offer every day. If somebody's like, "Hey, can you do like 9 a.m.?" You're like, "Hey, Miss Jones, I don't do those slots. I have these slots available." You just operate within your window. Okay. All right, number three, the third thing that we need, Carson, you got that for him? So the third thing that we need is we need a calendar. Okay. If you don't have a calendar, like a handwritten calendar where you can put all of your slots, so like when you sit down, Gabe, to make calls, you should have all of your demo slots already mapped out where it's like appointment with, phone jam, 40 calls. Every single thing in your calendar should be identified. I like to do this at least for the next couple of weeks, where like you've always got the next 2 to 3 weeks ahead, like organized in your calendar. Okay. Because you're going to be on the phone sometimes. Look at Carson's, he's holding it up. You're going to be on the phone sometimes with somebody that might be out of town or whatever. And like, you don't be scrambling to like put that time slot in. Okay. So he needs a calendar. If you don't have a calendar, guys, stop by Office Max, Office Depot, whatever's in your area, Staples, whatever. Buy the at a glance calendar that breaks it down into 15-minute increments, not the one that gives you like a day and it's like a box for the day. That's for people like that are elderly, okay? They're like 90 years old and they do one thing a day, okay? They write like lunch with Susan, okay? Or bingo night. And it's bingo night on Thursday night and it's at 6:30, but that's like all they can do in a day. Like it takes so much energy to do that one thing for the day, okay? So you're going to get the one that has the 15-minute increment. Okay. If you have a grandma that's in that age group, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody that's retired, they can do one thing a day, and oh my God, they are so busy because they have one thing every day this week. So you can't book anything on Thursday because they've got bingo on Thursday night at 6:30. Anyway, so we need a calendar. Number four, the fourth thing that we need is we need a mentor and we need a space for accountability. We need a mentor and we need a space for accountability. That's what's so great about our business, guys, is you're provided with this circle of influence right out of the gates. Like it's awesome to have people around you, not just your manager. You've got people on our team that are going for the same things that you are. So your manager is an awesome avenue, obviously. That's your closest like link to success, okay? Where you have immediate direct and support and asking questions. The second thing that you have in terms of accountability, guys, is you have access to our Champions Club workshops like this one this morning. You have access to a circle of influence of people that want to be a part of those. We're doing those during the push on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings, 8:30 till 9:30 a.m. 8:30 to 9 is focused on instruction, 9 to 9:30 focused on phoning. Really simple, okay? Coaching, Champions Club, you get time for review. I also want to put in your calendar a time for you to review. You need to get in the mode of being accountable to yourself. Okay. You can't only be accountable to other people, or you're not going to create systems of success on your own. Okay. Before you go to bed at night, every single night, look at how you're doing towards your pace for your goal that week. Okay. Just take a look at it. What I used to do in my calendar is after every demo, I'd write down the CPO and the amount of recommendations that I got for the demo. After the phone jam, I would write down how many calls I made, how many I talked to, and how many I booked. And it just made me accountable to the result of what I said I was going to do. And then, you know what happens for some people is they don't review their results until the end of the 7-day period. If you're reviewing your results every day, you know kind of how you're pacing and what you might need to add or remove based upon how you're doing. Okay. Number five, the last thing that we need is we need a commitment and follow through. Okay. I'm going to give you an example of a commitment. Okay. I'm going to give you an example of how our reps operate for reps who are committed to their goals. Okay. Let's use an example of a representative who has a flat tire. Okay. Representative A has a flat tire. And what happens is they call and they cancel their demos for the day. They don't talk to their manager until the next day because they're embarrassed that that happened and they're frustrated that they missed out on the appointments that they wanted to do for the day. That's number one. The reason they had a flat tire is they hit a curb and they popped a tire. Okay, totally their fault. Shit happens. It's happened to me. Representative number B or Representative B, what they do is it happened. Okay. They have an appointment that's coming up in an hour. Okay. They pull their car into a lot. They get an Uber and they go to their demo. Okay. They sell a homemaker set. They get their customer, they tell them what happened. They say they're so sorry. Their customer then drives them back to their car before their next appointment where AAA or whoever is gonna tow them back or whatever, help change their tire, whatever, they're gonna go to that one. Oh shit, they got another appointment, so they're gonna Uber to the next appointment. They might deal with the car at 6 o'clock that night after their four appointments. Okay. The difference between somebody who is committed to their success and their goals is they know what's important now and what's not. Okay. If you get in a wreck, you have no choice but to deal with the cop and the other people right then. You might have to reschedule the demo. If you have a flat tire, there's this great thing called Uber and Lyft, and you go to your appointment. You call your buddy and you tell him you give him $20 to drive him to your appointment because you're committed to your goal for the day. You said you were going to be working, right? You're going to find a way to make sure it happens. Okay. A commitment and follow through is crucial to success. Okay. You've got a plan of appointments for the week and it's Monday through Thursday, like Gabe mentioned, but something comes up and you have to go out of town on Monday. You know what happens? Then you add on Friday. You don't miss the three appointments that you were going to do on Monday. You got to correct that. You got to make up for it on a day that you weren't originally planning on working, right? Does this make sense? Commitment and follow through is crucial. What do you do when something happens and you need to respond? Okay. What do you do? You're on the way to an appointment. You get a text that that customer can no longer do the appointment. What do you do? Pull into the Publix parking lot, park your car, and get on the phone, man. You can book two or three in the same slot that you could have done one. I'll take the three booked instead of the one appointment. Yes, it's not immediate CPO, but it's going to be more successful in the long run. You're at the customer's house and she texts you, but you see her up in the driveway, her car. What do? Do you turn around? No, you drive up to you go up, right? Drive up to the house just like you were going to do. And you go up and, oh, sorry, I just got your text. It was already here. Oh, I gotta go. Hey, could you give me 2 minutes real quick? Oh, yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes. Hey, you get inside and you're like, hey, Jenny, we can make this super fast. I'll write you up for the set for people that cook a lot, or I can write you up for the set that your friend got. Which would you prefer? Oh, I'll do the one that my friend got. Okay, great. Grab your credit card. I'll write you up. Within 3 minutes, you can sell a homemaker and she can still go to that appointment that she was telling you she was going to cancel on. Are you finding a way? Are you finding a way? What are you doing when something happens that's out of the ordinary, that's out of the normal schedule that you planned on? How are you responding to that? Ron, that's what I've got. Those are 5 things. I'm going to wrap up. A standard number one, a plan number two. Okay. So a standard, remember 10 or 20 a week. You pick 10 plus, 20 a week. 10 is part time, 10 to 12 is part time, 20 plus. Number two is a plan. Okay. We need a plan. We need a number of calls and when we're going to make them and when those demos are going to happen. Number three, we need a calendar to track all this. Number four, we need a system of accountability and a mentor. And then number five, we need a commitment and follow through. How do we respond to things that aren't typical in the calendar that play out? Hope that was helpful, Ron.
Wow. Snaps and claps, Mr. Jackson, our fearless